विशाल सर, एक स्क्रीन डिस्प्ले के लिए रखें क्या? एक पीपीटी भेजूं?
हाँ मैडम, हाँ मैडम। मैडम
हाँ,
आप है
जस्ट
ना वो धर्मेंद्र सर से ही शेयर करो।
ओके।
महालक्ष्मी मैडम,
यस यस।
वो स्क्रीन है ना, आप धर्मेंद्र सर से ही शेयर करो। वो ऑलरेडी लॉग इन हुए हैं, मैं उनको होस्ट बना रहा हूँ।
हाँ, ओके, फाइन फाइन।
Good afternoon, everybody.
Dharmendra sir. Dharmendra sir, you can hear me? Dharmendra sir, you can hear me?
Ask him to unmute and then talk.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, try sharing the presentation. No, I have given you the sharing rights.
My presentation or background, I'm just selecting.
Dharmendra sir, you can hear me? You can share your presentation, so no problem. Means whatever you need to start, you can share that. Just try that. Dharmendra sir, you can hear me?
Okay, you
Hello?
can see. Yeah, can you see that?
Yes, sir, we can see that. Yes, sir.
Hello?
Okay, I'm just adding the background with the link.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
link?
Ma'am,
Sir,
Vishal
you have
here.
to pan up. वो group में share हो चुका है. I will share it once again. Are you there in the Telegram group?
Okay.
Mahar, check whether Kamala has joined. I can't see her. And if everybody is in, let's start the program.
Good morning. We'll start shortly in 2 minutes.
Look at the chat. Some people are not able to have any response from the system.
Hello, madam. Hello.
Yes, sir. Just about to start.
Yeah, but that mail you sent me for the background, it is a PDF. For that, I require some image basically.
I think our technical team will look into it.
Because this PDF.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
I think we can start now. Your screen, you are having the first PPT, na? That is okay. Now we'll begin. Uma ma'am, you're there, na?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah. This is
Okay.
Kamala.
Ma'am, she's having some technical issue. We'll sort out little later.
Okay, we'll get going.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Myself, Malashmi Nadar from SIS College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Science West, Mumbai, would welcome each one of you for this national webinar on virtual reality, very important for futuristic education. Today, we have with us Principal Dr. Uma Shankar, and this event is a national event where we had tried from SIS College to give an insight to academic staffs, those who are teaching, to give them a virtue of what virtual reality is and what would be the future education would be. So I just request Principal Uma Shankar ma'am to address the gathering. Ma'am, please.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm extremely delighted to welcome each one of you for a most awaited national webinar on virtual reality. I'm extremely heartened looking at the number of participants stretching over from Kanyakumari and Karikal to Assam to Uttaranchal to Chhattisgarh to onto the west from Gujarat. It's very important that looking at the futuristic way of education, this kind of a program on virtual reality becomes a mandate. We at SIS, just to give you a background, the college is 60 years old and we are in the verge of celebrating our Diamond Jubilee this 2021. This a small community of South Indians who began this college 60 years ago, keeping academic excellence as the benchmark, which they have been recreating and redoing it for last few decades. Over a period of time, the concept of education and also giving a kind of a meaningful life to this metropolis, the college has undergone a lot of training program and recruiting staff and students in such a way that we are able to keep up the standards of education in this part of the city. Today, as an autonomous institute, which we got our autonomous status 2 years back, we are now looking forward to a different kind of educational system. We want to redefine, restructure our syllabus, and redo a lot of things in such a way that we are able to manage the future when we are giving it to the younger generation. I'm extremely happy this joint venture with Futuristic Group and Vishal Gada, who's been always a supporter, our Center for Excellence, which is working independently along within the college as well as giving program to the people outside, and Value Lab, which is a very interesting concept which I had initiated 5 years ago. How do we give values to students was one of the most important concern. So This Value Lab is an initiative where students are consciously getting into activities connected to values. By this 3 or 4 years, we have completed around 25-30 values. And this month it is self-reliance, which even our Honorable Prime Minister has endorsed it. Connecting with the Value Lab and the Center for Excellence and with the group with whom we are planning to have this program, I'm extremely happy to welcome Mr. Dharmendra Jani, who has accepted our invite and who will be talking about virtual reality. Virtual reality is a very important step towards a very grand innovation and adventure as well as for imagination. During this COVID period, when we are not able to meet in person, not able to have a one-to-one contact in terms of having a connect in part of teaching or giving a lecture, I think virtual reality becomes a kind of a savior to us. All barriers which the corporate world or the educational institutes are facing it is getting sorted out because of this. Coming from a humanities and a philosophical background, there is a lot of reality in virtual world and there is a lot of virtual in reality. If we are connecting with the Value Lab, a very interesting Russian, Eli Kakhanov, whose writing I've been reading last few days, he said that when everyone is waiting for virtual reality, he says, I am waiting for virtuous reality. I think that is a very important take that SIS can have, that we are joining hands with the IQAC, which is a very important forum at SIS, and with COE and our Value Lab, where we want the next generation not only to be looking forward to virtual reality programs, but also be virtuous in their personal disposition. With these few words, I am very happy to welcome all of you across India to looking forward to this Mumbai program hosted by SIS College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Autonomous. Thank you, Maha.
Thank you, ma'am. So as our principal ma'am said, this is a joint venture of SIS College through the departments Center for Excellence, IQAC, Value Lab, in association with our collaborator, Financial Planning Academy. So this month's theme for Value Lab is self-reliance, and this futuristic training program is an objective through which we would try to achieve the value of self-reliance and equip ourselves with important teaching, learning, evaluation tools based on the outcome-based education. And here we have with us Mr. Dharmendra Jani, but Financial Planning Academy has been associated with SIS College for more than 10 years. So I have been interacting with Mr. Vishal Gada. He's the director of Financial Planning Academy. He would like to interact with all, and he'll introduce today's speaker. He'll be giving how this workshop would enlighten you. At the end of the session, you can post your queries, and hope we would like to enlighten with the virtual reality world, which is something beyond teaching, something beyond 3D images. It's a lifetime experience. We wish to have a very good association with each and every participants from all over India, from different institutions. We welcome all. Vishal sir, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mahalakshmi madam. Thank you very much, Uma madam, for giving us an opportunity to collaborate with SIS. And as always, whatever we proposed, you always agreed for all the proposals. So, madam, I am again really thankful to SIS. Okay, I'll just take. I will just take a minute to just introduce Financial Planning Academy, and then I will straight away introduce our today's speaker, Mr. Dharmendra Jani. So before I introduce Financial Planning Academy, with proud I would say in the last 20 days, we have covered 3,570 faculties through faculty webinars, and we have reached out to 9,750 students through various webinars we have conducted across India, across city. So coming to Financial Planning Academy, we are one of the largest education partner for CFP certification in India, Certified Financial Planner. We are one of the leading authorized education partner for UK-based chartered accountancy program called ACCA. We are also offering placement-backed program for students who are aspiring to join banking sector. And we are also authorized training provider for a US-based program, CMA. We have a strong domain expertise into banking and finance. And with this exposure, every year, FPA have been training 40,000 plus banking and financial service professionals across 150 cities. We are also one of the largest company in India for conducting investor awareness programs under mutual fund Sahi Hai campaign and Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. We are also NISM, that is SEBI empaneled CPE partners, and we are working closely with 80 plus colleges for skill development programs for students and faculties, again into banking and finance domain. We have our headquarters at Mumbai, and we are having our centers at Pune, Bangalore, Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, and Raipur. With this, let me take an honor to introduce our speaker today. His name is Mr. Dharmendra Jani. He's a IIM Calcutta alumni. He's a PMP US certified professional on project management. As a senior program and project manager with 25 years experience of successfully leading major turnkey projects, augmented by engaging in continuous professional development and training. He have been cultivated a refined skill set in project scope planning, cost management, material and equipment sourcing, human resource allocation, and risk assessment. Furthermore, he have successfully directed teams to complete projects in alignment with the direct and indirect stakeholders' objectives. He specializes in good practice of PMBOK and relevant ISO standards. Having worked in global MNCs, witnessing the practicing best business practices in all organization domains and operations. The major projects handled around the globe include Scorpion submarine project. He was a project manager from SE France, Ceylon Electricity Board, Sri Lanka, HTMS project in UK, ICICI Bank data center Hyderabad, and IBM Airtel data center Pune. Again, it will be a pleasure associating with SIES, and our collaboration with SIES will definitely be fruitful. And with this, I would just request Dharmendra sir to start the session.
Check on sharing the screen, yeah.
Yeah, good morning, friends. First of all, I would like to thank and congratulate SIS's Value Lab initiative. And I would like to congratulate Dr. Uma Shankar, Dr. Kamla Srinivasan, and Dr. Mahalakshmi Nadar to organize this seminar and given me opportunity to discuss some of the online education fundamentals. So I would start with, since recently we were in the lockdown for last 3 months, and we have come up with some new concept. One thing we regularly listen about online education, because now practically it is not possible to go to any colleges or schools to attend the classes. So now virtual education and online education becomes a key or prime discussion point. And another thing, in a last address by our Prime Minister, he stressed upon the self-reliant. We have to take opportunity of this lockdown to introspect ourselves, how we become so self-reliant. Today we are going to discuss how we will begin a self-reliant India journey and what education sector can contribute in that. So today's agenda, I'll be covering first thing, what are the challenges in education sector towards self-reliant India, and what are the challenges and what are the possible solutions and opportunities. And we'll focus on outcome-based education. Then the last most talked about topic, online education. So we'll go deep down into education, online education. What is synchronous learning? There are different concepts in virtual education, synchronous learning system, asynchronous learning system, and what would be the institutional strategy to adopt this new virtual education. And then we'll move on to the technical part. What are the technologies available to support us in get expertise into learning management system? And then future is technology, virtual reality, how it will change the learning pattern of all the students. So our journey towards self-reliant India. So we'll just focus on education sector. The major challenges as per the RBI data in 2018, there are almost 752,000 students studying abroad, and every year they would like to go abroad for the training. Many people go for better life, and most of people go for the better education, better quality of education. And in terms of money, they are spending almost 2.8 billion US dollar, our valuable foreign currency, is roughly converted into 21,000 crores of Indian rupees. If you compare that with our union government budget allocation for education for entire India, is 43,000 crores. See, that is primarily used in primary education or promoting rural education. And another challenges we are facing or competition we are facing, the foreign universities are allowed to set up virtual setup in India. So that becomes a competition for our existing institution. And also there is a major challenge for the journey towards self-reliant India. We are producing so many graduates. They are having a graduation certificate, but they are not matching with the industry standard. What industry has got a lot of vacancy and our graduates are unemployed. So there is a gap between what industry want and what students we are producing. So what is the solution? So we have to become an Atmanirbhar or self-reliant. We have to build a self-confidence. It is called Atma Vishwas. The Atma Vishwas is we have the world-class education. So we have to make Indian education system so vibrant. So we are matching with the international standards. So we can, first advantage, we can prevent the Indian brilliant student going abroad. And other thing is we can attract foreign students who would like to have a quality education. Right now they are going to a developed country. We can reverse that flow and they can come back to India and we can earn additional revenues for India. So this way we can save a lot of money which is outgoing and we can have additional incoming income from the foreign students. And again, we have got India is a huge country and there is a vast location. There are smaller cities, towns, and most of the smaller towns is to look upon metro cities for the good quality of education. So this disparity, we have to narrow this gap, and how we can do that by focusing on a virtual reality concepts or online education. So what is the outcome-based education and how it is related with the Skill India? So just now I said we are producing thousands of graduates. They are carrying a graduation certificate and they are not employable. Even when I was working in MNCs, it was very hard to find a perfect guy to hire. There are so many graduates who are taking so many interviews, but it's very difficult to get a guy who are fit for our organization. So we, as an education academies or institution, our goal is not to take an exam and produce a lot of graduates who are passing out the university in thousands. So, but we have to focus on outcome-based education. So once a candidate is coming out of the university, he is a knowledgeable, he is a skillful to directly get employed in industries, and he has got a right attitude, and a right dream to become somebody in the life, to achieve something. He could have an attitude to become an entrepreneur, to start education. It is not you are teaching the syllabus. So outcome based is we have to provide the value education, and we have to bring out the right skilled person who can contribute to the economical development of this country. 1576, and then Jahangir was his son. He born in this. See, basically these numbers, people are just students are mugging up and wasting their energy on that. So rather than focusing on the numbers when he was born and when the Battle of Plassey was held, so we can focus more on what was the economic situation during that time. See, I will give you the correlate. See, recent time we had a crisis of migrant laborers walking on the roads. So if we study during the Maratha warriors, they were traveling from Pune to Delhi, almost with the army of almost 50,000 or 1 lakh people. So how they used to manage the logistics? How they were keeping the health and traveling all towards same distance what the migrant laborers are traveling. If we learn and focus on that, the same concept
Sir,
would be. Yes.
just sorry to interrupt. There is an echo. Maybe some other device, something is on. Yeah, background echo is coming. Your laptop or something, you can reduce the volume. Only mic will be on. I think that echo sound is gone now. It's a try now.
Continue, sir.
It's okay.
No, sir, there is some echo coming.
Now it has stopped.
Yes, sir, continue. Just continue. Yes, sir.
Okay. So the second, so we have to design the curriculum in a such a way so it becomes useful in a today's scenario. The second stage is the online education plan. We have to use the virtual technologies that we'll discuss later on. Then there should be assessment planning. So currently we have quarterly test or 6-month test or yearly test, and assessment is done on how much mark is occurred on that particular exam. So if we have a day-to-day or day-to-day monitoring what the student is doing for the objective of learning, an assessment is based on what he has learned, not he has given in an exam. And then we have to see what he has attained, and we have to analyze where he is lagging. And then fifth step is we have to do the survey, and surveys is we can do surveys from their parents or their friends, and directly from the students or even from the faculty where we can improve. And as institutional management, there should be vision statement. We have to be continuously monitoring the process, education process. Once it is set in 1947, okay, we'll be doing this curriculum. It cannot be relevant in today's time. So we have to continuously monitor that, and we should have a vision statement where we will be after 5 years. And see, the best person to measure the stakeholders' expectation is the faculty, because he is the person who is connected with the students. So he is the best person to know what student wants, whether they are enjoying the education or they are just enrolled just for the sake of enrolling or get the certificate. And see, we have discussed that our institutional, why people going abroad, because the abroad institution has got some rating, accreditation rating. For example, people go inclined to go to Harvard because Harvard is the #1 university in the world. Our institutions and college should work towards accreditation needs of the global standard. So we can be listed as a best universities or best college, best commerce college or best arts college in India. Okay, we may not have matching capability in a science and technology, but we've got a great capability in arts and commerce and management area. So now we'll focus on virtual education. How virtual education will contribute towards objective-based education. There's a difference between online classroom and the actual classroom, the physical classroom. Okay, there is you can give lectures on the video, and okay, you are covering the syllabus. But there is difference in the classroom. You can see the body languages of your student. What is the last bencher is doing, or who are really understanding what you are teaching. So as a in a real classroom, you can adjust your teaching methodology or examples you are giving to the student. It will be different. But once you are in an online education, you're just giving a video lecture. We don't understand what exactly the student is doing, whether he's understanding or he's getting disturbed by some other means or he's just chatting on the mobile. So in virtual learning environment, it is a challenge. And what teacher can do additionally, apart from virtual lecture, video lecture, what else they can do to get connected with the students? So we have seen the journey towards Skill India. So it should be focused on the student, because student is the final products coming out of the institution, and he is the person who will give the prestige to the institution. Okay, he has come out of the institution, and the quality of student itself will speak about the institution, the college, university. Okay, he has come out of the university, so he has got this kind of competencies been developed. See, we have got a challenge is that many students are enrolling in after 10th standard, but many few are reaching up to the graduation. The reason is that they are not motivated. They drop out. They are not finding it interesting. So what additional thing we can do? So on the part of the university and school or colleges, we can adopt more latest technology which is available right now. And teachers can also use more and more resources which it can use to motivate the student and make the learning fun and interesting. And we can, as an institution, we can use additional method. The student can also motivated to learn at home also at its own, rather than just depending on the institution. So we have seen that virtual education demand more independent. So student is more independent. There is no control. If he coming to the college, still there is control. He has to come in time, and then his attendance will be checked. And there is a monitoring from the faculties and principal and all the institutions. But once he is enrolled for the virtual education, so institution is very lesser control on that. And again, whether he's basically, see, if you have a in front classroom, you know the student background also is from affluent family or is from middle class family. But in online education, you cannot judge the background. So professor must learn to engage, how to engage this very varied audience in a diverse group of learners. But again, the challenge is virtual education does not give you excuse just because it's an online degree, and it cannot be comparable to the what we are doing full time in a campus. See, we can find that if somebody goes for employment, is online educated graduate, and he is a full time graduate, so there is a discrimination between them. So our virtual education or online education, it's supposed to be same level what we have in a campus. How we can do that, that we'll discuss further, because there are so many technology we are supporting to bring our in-house facility to virtual education. In virtual education, there are two ways education. One is a synchronous mode, where it's a you can say conventional mode. The instructor or professor is giving a video lecture. Okay, so it's synchronized. In the same time, lecturer and the learner are sitting together discussing the topic or learning the topic. And asynchronous mode is just like a is a coaching class or a tuition class or a homework. So what student is doing voluntarily. It's not compulsory by the colleges. So you should go into coaching class or take additional class for additional learning. Asynchronous mode is self-learning. So we'll discuss more about synchronous mode and asynchronous mode. So synchronous learning, as we just seen, is a live lecture. The lecturer is giving and scheduled time. Okay, he is trying to cover the syllabus with all the students. But again, see, it's very difficult for the faculty to connect with the student. Synchronized means if you see some music, somebody is playing flute, somebody is playing tabla, somebody is singing. But unless and until they're synchronized, the complete song will not come. If you see the synchronized dancing, everybody has to be synchronized and aligned together to come out with the best performance. So synchronized means it's an alignment. The professor who are teaching and the student who are into same page. It's both the learner and the who are learning, it's synchronized. So the faculty who are giving the instruction, it should be understood by the student. So it is called synchronized. Otherwise, there is no meaning of teaching. Nobody is understanding and you are just teaching. So it is not called synchronized learning. So suppose there is a classroom. As I said, the professor can change his methodology based on the body languages and interests of the student because they are sitting in front of them. But in online education, there is a barrier. He cannot see. To overcome this barrier, the professor can use additional tools to synchronize, to bring the synchronization between him and the students. What are the additional technologies he can use to accommodate wider range of learners? See the virtual classroom. If you replicate this virtual classroom, if you want to replicate the virtual classroom, you can you can use the technology so that whatever the instructor or lecturer is writing on the board, so you can see the student can see the whiteboard. Just now I can see the people are raising a hand, so there should be option. So people will raise their hand and ask the question. There should be facility to share the screen and session recording or live audio recording, and there should be chatting is available. So when you are giving the online lectures, uh, I had a few questions. If we move further in this webinar, your question will be answered. So we are discussing how the live lecture should be conducted. So this is when we are conducting the live lectures and what the additional tools you can use. to synchronize with the student. Now he has finished the online lecture. He has used the whiteboard. He has shared his PPT and everything is visible to student. But still student will have a doubt because we can imagine there is a different ability students. Few are very scholar, few may be average, few are from a very different background. So he can have a different, he can arrange for the different audio conferencing to address the different level of students. He can have a web conference link, just like a Skype video conferencing for some group of students. So he can explain the concept better because some students already mastering that concept. So just repeating that concept to the other group may not be so much interesting to that particular group. So you can have a groups of people. So you can give the simplified example. So you can arrange the web conferencing and you can have a video conferencing. So it gives a personal touch. As we said, it should be synchronized. The teacher and the student who are at a virtual location should be connected. It should not be like that somebody from other world is just giving the online lecture. So in the synchronous mode, the lecturer and the learner should be connected, and there are the different technologies the faculty can use, and there should be chat. We are all using the WhatsApp chat or instant messaging. So if there is a question, they can be answered at the same time. And then the whiteboarding. Whiteboarding is a sharing your own screen and just explaining all the complex problems or mathematical problems on the whiteboards. And he can share he can create some small mobile application for particular group or particular standards or particular course. So the group of students will share that particular application, and in the one place, all the learning will be available. So this one part that is called live faculty is giving lectures to the student and how he is able to connect along with all the technologies rather than just giving the video lectures. See, another mode is very important for the virtual education is the asynchronous learning. The asynchronous learning, as we said, is a self-paced education. Self-paced education means student is not attending the institution or is sitting home, and he is learning at his own convenience. Because when he's seeing the lecture, he might be dozing off, he is not well, his concentration is not proper, so he's not grasping. So he should get opportunity to revise that at his own convenient time. So asynchronous is it's very helpful for student at a different or far away location, because traveling from, for example, we are staying in Mumbai and somebody's our college is at Matunga and student is staying in somewhere Badlapur. So he is spending a lot of traveling time and or wasting his time to reach to college. So in virtual education, he'll be sitting home and utilize the 3 hours of traveling to learn is at his own pace. So there are many technologies the institution can use to support this asynchronous learning. See, the program designed for asynchronous learning should be a little bit different on what you are giving in a synchronous mode, the live mode, the chatting and other things. So because in asynchronous mode is an independent mode, students are learning at its own independent. So if there is no connection between faculty or college or institution, and he is independent, he is on some holiday, still he can able to learn. So what are the different technology can be used for asynchronous learning? So the students is comfortably learning, and whenever he has got doubt, definitely he has got the option to connect on a synchronous mode with the live lectures or live audio conference. But suppose this in some other location, is on holidays, is not well, and unable to connect the live lectures. So he should be able to continue his learning. So what the institution can do, we can arrange for downloadable pre-recorded lectures, that he can download the lectures, recorded lectures, and view that at his convenience time. There may be in some critical subjects or critical topics, the institution can prepare some PowerPoint presentation in simplified mode and with or without the voiceover. So he can download the PPT and quickly revise that concept. Suppose he is going for some interview or going for some competition within the college or anything. So you can quickly go through the PowerPoint presentation and freshen up his on the topic. Then there should be forum and discussion board. For example, there are so many groups on Facebook or Instagram, which are or LinkedIn, we discuss on the various topics, which enhances not only curriculum, but to what is the additional things are happening. For example, right now the GDP is going supposed to go down because of lockdown and other things. So that will not be covered in a normal syllabus, but student will remain educated what is exactly GDP. When he's learning in the class, he is comfortable, okay, what exactly is the GDP, because he's seeing it in day-to-day life. So forum and discussion board will enhance his skill to be industry ready. And the institution can have email communication, regular email communication is just act as a notice board. Okay, what the next session will be starting, the technology, the technology is down, internet is down, so don't connect on this lecture. Lecture is rescheduled, or there are some new concepts are developed. It can be mailed to students on a PDF form. Okay, he can read that. Okay, these are the new additional concepts. Because every time you cannot buy books from different authors for the same subject. So the faculty can do the research and give them insight of some different author on the same subject. So same can be communicated via email. And the institution can have a single, hire some cloud service or Google Drive, where everything is stored at one place. A student can download notes or even the e-books from that particular Google Drive, and then he can refer that book rather than go for the actual hard book purchase. So he can have advantage of seeing so many, it's act as a library. So he can refer so many books from the drive. And we'll discuss, we'll see the virtual tutoring center and virtual resource center in our further slide. So that is the futurist technology, how it will make the learning very fun. If the participants have some doubts or question after this presentation, I think most of your question will be answered. And if you still have some doubts and some of the concepts, we'll discuss further during a question session. So just now we have seen online education or virtual education is not just merely giving just video lectures. Because the general feedback I've received from all the students in the last 3 months, they are attending the video lectures, but they are not too happy with that. So I just explained with the video lectures, it should supposed to be a synchronized means the virtual classroom, live presentation, live test, live chat, instant messaging. So it should bring connect between students and the faculty. So synchronizing means is in the same page, they're into harmony. Learner and the teacher in the same harmony. The asynchronous mode is enhancement of knowledge to increase the understanding of a student during his own time, leisure time, and he can download all the valuable information and make him knowledgeable. So if he combine both of these things, the virtual education becomes successful. So we have seen some concept how can make online education on the outcome-based education system, or to make online education at par with the full-time education. So there should not be any differentiation. Person is doing online course or is attending the full-time 4-year into the college. So to make that, institution need to make some strategy. See, it cannot be so I got some question whether this online education will remain a temporary phase, or it is going to be full-time strategy for the future. I would like to say, if we focus on institutional strategy and bring this online virtual education at some international level, definitely it will surpass the full-time education compared to virtual education. Because so just in the beginning I said there are so many foreign universities are setting up their virtual classroom in the Indian, just like a Harvard's or MIT or Cambridge University. They have set up campus in the Dubai and UAE. Initially, we have seen there are 750,000 students going abroad. Out of that, almost around 80,000 students are going to Saudi Arabia and UAE to get the foreign degrees. Because Cambridge and Oxford have set up their virtual campus in those countries and giving the same level of education what you get in the UK or USA. So how we can achieve that? So for that, our institution need to make some strategy. It cannot be in one day you can decide and okay, we'll go for the online education. If we go on just for online education for sake of video, just because of the lockdown, it will not be successful strategy for the long time because students will not be comfortable. So how this colleges and institution make a strategy? See, there is research in USA and by Carnegie Mellon, Illinois Online Network. So to derive successful online education, it should not be limited for the lockdown. It can be strategy to attract the foreign going student and to improve the level of our education as overall by adding the technology in our education system. So how the institution can make a strategy? So institution cannot replace the lecturer. Without lecturer, either it's a virtual education or a full-time education, campus education. So lecturer should be adaptable to the using of new technology to be effective on a virtual environment. So there should be a faculty training on the new technologies coming up. Just now today we are seeing Zoom video conferencing. I think 2 months back nobody was knowing the Zoom video conferencing or video lectures. So new technologies are coming up and we are adopting it, and a lecturer has to be focused more on how to use these new technologies. So the second aspect of the strategy to encourage students and the faculty for the discussion. More there will be discussion, more there will be free exchange of the information. Because if nobody, very few people will raise their hand, okay, I got a doubt. Many people will be afraid to that. But if there is a regular discussion So we can understand, okay, what is the uh, what we are lacking, and what is the need of the online student, in what they are missing in virtual education. So discussion will encourage students to come out. So there is, as we had discussed in a synchronized education, we should have audio conference or video conference. So that is to discuss and to find out what exactly the students want. So students will be encouraged to ask questions and communicate with their ideas, and they can give the suggestions also. And see, you cannot replace practicals. There is a big challenge for the science or engineering or medical student, or even for the commerce. There is always a practical. So how in virtual environment or online student, practicals can be arranged? Or how, so because it is essential. Without practical, engineering student cannot see the machines, or the science student cannot do the experiment, and that is the basis to become a professional. So we have to use the virtual softwares or virtual technology that we discussed in further slide for the practical purpose, or to demonstrate. So it is suppose you are building some a campus in some remote location or some smaller towns, for example, Chandrapur. So we cannot have a financial resources to build the complete practical labs and everything. But if you use the virtual technology, the student sitting in the Chandrapur can see the real demonstration of the practicals. And the next strategy part is the stimulation. We have discussed that we are not we are getting a certificate holder who are a graduate or who are postgraduates, MBA, but they're not a job ready. So, or they hired as a trainee for 1 year or like that. So there are some stimulation softwares available which can create office environment. So if it's a half an hour or 1 hour kind of a office, so the person is sitting in office, he's assumed as some cashier or some sales guy. So he's suddenly getting a mail from his boss, then suddenly he's getting some other call from his purchase guy, and suddenly his vice president calling up and asking him to, okay, you prepare this presentation within 2 hours. So in this stimulation, the student can get a feel of the actual office, his actual working conditions, sitting in the colleges or sitting at home. So you'll get the stimulation. If you go, for example, for the flight training, see the pilots are now not directly taken into the cockpit to train the flight. Well, they are put into stimulated situation where virtual reality they can learn how to fly the aeroplanes. But for commerce students or art students, there are so many virtual programs available which take them into some realistic situation, so they can be ready when they face the industry. So we have seen the 4 strategies, and earlier we have seen the learning should be fun and interesting. So we should not forget the game part. So how it is we have to arrange the games in a virtual environment, because if there is a campus, there is always sports events or cultural events. So similarly, when there is a virtual or online education, there are so many virtual games available, or housey games, or quiz, Kaun Banega Karodpati, or that kind of so many interesting games. Periodically, the institution should arrange some games. So students' interest and participants will remain, they will be remain engaged to that particular course, because just learning, it makes a boring, the learning becomes a boring. So we have to introduce the games. So in between, in a virtual online student, okay, will this Saturday there is no learning, there is no classroom. Only thing we will have games, and there are plenty of online games available. Yeah, people can connect, and all the entire group can play the games, and then there could be winner, and there could be virtual a gift voucher or virtual prize for that. And the final strategy should be, because we are focusing more on outcome-based education. So we are giving all the trainings, all the simulation and demonstration and synchronous learning and collaborating with the student. But still, how to measure whether he has really learned that and he's ready, his skill has been built for industry ready. So we have to give them rather than just examination will definitely be there. But apart from examination, we have to ask students to work on some projects, some real life industry projects. For example, some student is studying a commerce. So he can take up how auditing has been done in the particular industry, or what was the case studies of Satyam computers, or how the system was not complied. So students are encouraged to take a case studies and project, so they becomes more familiar with actual industrial scenario. So once he has got the complete knowledge, he has got the stimulation, he is motivated with the games, and all the demonstrations, synchronous learning, everything is there. And with that, he can pass the exam. But with these projects and case studies, he is ready to face the interview with confidence because he knows what is the industry. So far, we have covered the theoretical part of online education. So we have covered what is the journey towards self-reliant India and how our education institution or faculties can contribute towards the journey towards self-reliant, and how can we attract the foreign students, and how can we encourage Indian students to remain in the education stream, and what is the outcome-based education, and what is synchronous education and asynchronous education. So, and what could be the institutional strategy to have an outcome-based education. So now, okay, we have finished the theory part. So all this is required some technology, additional help. So there are so many ready-made softwares or technologies available to support all these goals and make us world-class education system. So one of the thing is available is a learning management system. All the institution generally nowadays has got the computers and all this learning system in place, but it is not aligned with all the objectives, or admission is going separately, the BA class is going separately, and the BCom stream is going separately, and the engineering is going separately. There is a faculty disconnect, the communication gap, and students are gathered in the front of notice board. What is happening? What is the new date? When the result will come? And there is a new courses. There are many institutions is providing short-term courses also. So when, how to enroll in that? When the certification will be given? And we have to prevent the hacking of the duplicate certificate. There are cases in a conventional university, people are getting a fake certificate. So we require some foolproof system which prevent this fake certification and fake examinations also. So learning management system is a ready-made combination of some technology or some software. So it integrates all this entire from admission to the scheduling of a classroom, fee collection, and student attendance, progress, feedback, and they can even arrange the video conferencing or audio conferencing. They can schedule all the recording of the videos. So they can store what we discussed about this PowerPoint presentation. It can be downloaded by the student in a single place. So the learning management system So learning management system, it makes management of online education or virtual education much simpler, or learning management to make even the existing full-time institution management much simpler and much transparent and safe. You can say hacking proof. So as we discussed, learning management system is a technology, is a software and a system. For example, you have got a software in your mobile, Android, so it can facilitate you in arranging so many things. You have got email, so email will help you in so many things, but ultimately it's a software. So software will help you in so many things. So it's learning management system, if you install in your colleges or in your institution, so it will increase the efficiency. So how it will increase the efficiency by students' knowledge gap? How it will increase the efficiency? Say student has to waste lot of time to connect with the college. So now if you have got a one learning system at a single place, he can download everything at a single place, either through his mobile or through his laptop. He gets all the resources at a single place. He can see when my examination is scheduled, what is my fees is due, when my mark sheet is coming. He can download the schedules of the online lectures. He can download the additional videos or the PowerPoint at a single place. So it will definitely going to increase his efficiency rather than searching so many things at so many places, because he has got a single point where he has a library on his hand. So he can download the books at a single place by logging on to learning management system. Again, the same thing is eliminated downtime. So it increases the flexibility because it's available 24/7. So you don't have to wait till my college will open, or it is you can download particular thing by 10 to 6 or like that. So it's a learning management system. Anytime at midnight he feels that okay, I want to learn something, he can download. And this because it is connected with the student, so improve the student retention. So there will not be we are seeing that there is almost 40% students who are dropping out of the education system after 10th standard. They don't finish their graduation because they are not understanding what is going in the college, or they don't have self motivation to learn the things. But if they are connected with a single system, so it will make the learning interesting. So it will improve the student retention. Then again, it will reduce the travel cost. We don't have to travel to a center or the colleges or different places, or college don't have to spend courier charges on sending the relevant documents or training material or the books. And definitely the biggest advantage is to boost the student's productivity, because he becomes a professional even while studying in the colleges or schools. Okay, so now we have got a beautiful learning management system, and all the advantage we are getting. But learning management system is again a technology, is a software. So what it cannot do? It cannot create the content. See, we require a faculty to create the syllabus, to create the content, the delivery material, the courseware. So software cannot create courseware for you. For that, we require a knowledgeable faculty who can preload the courses. Even okay, there are softwares available. We can help you to put some graphics in that and make it more attractive. But still, the college faculties and management is required to create the content of the course. And again, it will not eliminate the need of instructor. We require instructor. We require faculties. Online education or virtual education or whatever may be the new technology, it cannot eliminate the need of instructor. We require instructor, because instructor will understand how to teach with the help of new technology, but he is the master. And see, LMS, unless and until you have got your learning strategy, institution does not have learning strategy. For example, science college or engineering college, they don't have strategy. They don't change the curriculum. They don't change the practicals. Because I'm an engineering student. when I was studying, I was in a practical. We used a very old machine that was 1947 or 48 technology. And we were doing practicals on that. And when we went to industry, I've never seen what you have done in a practical. So, for example, engineering and science, the methodology or new technology or new practicals or new demonstration should be adopted. So we at the par with the global level. So that is the responsibility of the institute to make and create the learning strategy. Learning management system will just support to implement the strategy. So there are different colleges and different level of institute, different budgets, and there may be university, private university. So there is a different level of learning management systems available depending on the budget. So how to decide on how much to invest on learning management system? So there is a one checklist. More yes and no. We have to tick on yes or no. Whether so there are some questionnaires. So suppose you whether you supposed to go for some sophisticated learning management system or not, or virtual education system or not. The first thing, do you have someone in charge of training? If virtual or any training strategy, somebody should be own that entire strategy. It cannot be divided among so many faculties and directing so many people. Only single person or single program manager or project manager should be there to derive this entire learning system and to improve the learning system, or it should be iterative, because it cannot be once you install the software, again there will be 6 months new technology upgrade version. So there should be in charge of a training. So you have to tick mark whether you have anybody defined person, well, yes or no. The second thing is, do you have students at a multiple location? Are you want to go into full-fledged virtual education? For example, the Oxford has set up a center, virtual education center in Dubai or in a Singapore. So, are you have a plan to have a virtual campus somewhere in a smaller towns, or apart from Mumbai or Pune, you want to go to Latur or some other center, or in different location, or it can be a major town also? And do you have a formalized learning strategy in a place? Because you cannot change the learning for smaller town, or because Oxford, what they are teaching in London, the same thing they're teaching in same methodology, same thing they're teaching in a Dubai campus also. So do you have a formalized learning strategy? Do you offer external training to the customer? Because now institutions require revenues to support the new development, or because every institute does not get a grant from the colleges to support. And again, there is a challenge: you cannot increase the fees beyond its a certain level. So many institutes, just like Mumbai IIT or many major colleges, they provide external training to the customer. There is a 1 or 2 days training session, and they can institution with earning some revenue out of that, and that can be useful to improvise your learning management system. Do you offer or report certification training? Either you're giving a certificate or for short term. I'm talking about the short term training, short term courses, 2 months, 3 months, or 4 weeks courses, because it's bringing some revenues. Then suppose there are students are enrolled in a integrated 5 years master's course. So are you have a mechanism to track his project progress, and it's a report cards of individual students? And do you handle 100 of registration for learning events? So just now we have seen there are almost, I can see around 488 participants. So if you have a learning management system, you can easily handle that. You have already have courses created. Well, if you have courses created, it's very easy to implement a learning management system. Do you charge for the fees? Just now we have seen it's additional revenues for the institution if you have virtual education. And do you enroll new students frequently? Because if you offer short-term courses, there will be so many students coming and going. So if you have a checklist like that, then you can institution strategy can decide, okay, we can invest in learning management system. I don't want to endorse any products. Just to familiarize with, there are some ready-made learning management system available, which you can directly purchase and install in your university. There are all the features we have just discussed about synchronous and asynchronous learning. It can be from admission to the graduation, every process at a one place. They can download the videos or video conferencing, the result, certification, everything will be there. And this learning management system. These are some few famous learning management system, Adobe, then Decibo. So it's an individual product, so I don't want to discuss about that feature because there are plenty of products available. So you can search and get the best product affordable to your institution. And if you get a very large university and so many colleges are associated with that, so you require some larger learning management system. So SAP Litmus is very good for a very large university. It has got an online course builder, assessment, surveys, feedbacks, and you can integrate so many courses of different colleges in that. So these are the few examples of few learning management systems available in the market. So I'm not endorsing you should go for that. There are plenty of things available. So you can select the product, and there are so many Indian brands are also available, and you can discuss with them and customize the learning management system according to your institutional need. But as a faculty, I would advise to you just visit this site and you can get the feeling how the learning management system is working and what are the features. And because some of the features you might be using already in your institution, because it may be in isolated, but you can, some genius can build their own learning management system because our students and faculties are very brilliant. So we can take a clue from this website and you can have your own learning management system. Okay, so now we have come to the interesting part, virtual reality. So this is going to change learning experience. Initially we have discussed the student will be remain engaged with the institution if the learning is easy and fun. And just now I've seen some question why Indian institutions, Indian engineering and science institution or colleges are not at par with what is there in US or in other countries. See, one of the reasons these are the advanced technologies they are using, and we will see how it makes the difference. So what exactly is virtual reality? See, since childhood, we are playing the games. We can go to any mall or you insert some coin and you drive that bike at 120 speed on the road and win the race. You're driving cars or you are firing in the space, you are driving the aeroplanes. So it's a video game, is a basically virtual reality. It's an imaginary world created and you are getting engaged with that imaginary world. I was seeing some questions, so I thought most of questions try to answer through all this.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Questions we are keeping track of because of time shortage. We'll select few questions and we'll have a Q&A at the end, and remaining we can discuss in our Telegram group. Okay, so you
Okay,
just
no
continue.
problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are discussing about virtual reality. So I don't have to really explain in a technology term what is the virtual reality, because as a user, we already seen either on our mobile also we are playing a lot of virtual reality. So how this virtual reality can be useful in education, in a full-time education, that we'll see in a further slides. So what virtual reality is used for in education? So somebody was asking, it's just not limited for the gaming. Now virtual reality is used in medical profession because for to see the human anatomy, how the heart is functioning. Recently, I've seen the video how the corona is infecting the human body in a three-dimensional way. So you can easily understood how the corona is penetrating, touching your hand, how it is going your mouth. So that way, the learner can easily see and visualize, okay, how this uh, uh, what they cannot practically see by cutting the human body, they can see the stimulation. In the same way in engineering, how to repair some machine. So you can teach that person by virtually without going to the physical location. You can teach, okay, he feels that he entered that machine, press this button or open this particular screw. So that virtual technology can be used in rather than gaming, it can be used in education. And see, there is an advancement in virtual reality. Virtual reality was just a gaming. Yes, outside and there is a gaming. There is a already pre-programmed game. Augmented reality is virtual reality at some real location. See, recently, in a lockdown period, we have seen so many series like a Mahabharata or Ramayana. So when there is a war is going on, Arjun says Brahmastra. So suddenly something appears on his head in a real location. So that is called augmented reality. So it's not a real thing, but imaginary thing appearing as a Brahmastra on his hand. Suddenly we finding uh, Lord Hanuman is raising uh, uh, his figure by 100 meter or 100 feet and crushing all the Rakshasas. So it's an augmented reality imposed in a real location. It's a virtual reality imposed in a real location. For example, you're traveling in a Mumbai city and you have got some augmented, suddenly you will see President of United States traveling with you in a local train. So it's called augmented reality. So it's a virtual reality imposed at the real location. So it's a very still early stage of research and development, but possibly there is a lot of improvement in this. So we can see near future, we will see Mr. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interesting in front of us at our home. And for learning perspective, there is an immersive virtual reality. So immersive virtual reality, uh, there is a component to use that is called headgear. So once you put that headgear, enters the program, the individual feels he is traveling into Jurassic Park or he is traveling to the Paris. In a real terms, once he remove the glass, he realize okay, he's just sitting at home. But once he put that headgear, because of this virtual reality or augmented reality, he feels that he's walking or traveling into Kashmir or in Paris. So it's a headset specially developed to for teaching purpose to the students or to the pilots or to the soldiers to get the feel of the real environment. So I just told you, once you have that virtual reality headgear, the person feels that he's in the middle of some zoo or traveling into some different location or in a mountain, or he's repairing the machine with is basically there is no machine in front of him, but he has got a feeling that there is a machine in front of him, and he's opening that machine, repairing that machine, operating that machine. So how that virtual classroom will look like. So all the students, you can see the picture, all the students having the virtual headset and the teacher is teaching on his mobile and taking all the subjects. For example, is teaching him the anatomy of the heart, how the heart is giving a three-dimensional view of his heart, and engineering student, or same way he can take art student to some archaeological location, or he can take commerce student to some industry or banking location. So to get the more visualization on that, I will show you one video. You look at a complete picture of what the future technology will look down. Can you see the video?
A global engineering firm coming together all around the world, joining
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir. So you're finished? Hello?
One second.
Yes, sir. Yes. Geeta ma'am,
Yes.
I think he'll just finish off.
Yeah. No. Can I go ahead
We
with
can
question answer? Is sir going to stream any more videos?
just, maybe a minute. Sir, you're continuing? Hello?
Yeah, we'll
Start
continue.
with the QA.
Yeah, finish with the.
Okay, fine. Geeta ma'am, please.
Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. See, we've gone through the questions. Lots of questions are there. The chat box is flooded with questions. So we have taken a few representative questions because many questions are repeating in some form or the other. So what we are going to do is we are going to bunch questions and ask the basic team. Can I go ahead with the Q&A, sir? Hello, Jani sir,
No,
can you hear me?
what is
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
yeah, I can hear.
So I'll just go ahead with the questions that have grouped through the chat box. So the first question is, many people have asked about how the weak students or physically challenged students, uh, how online education will take care of them. The slow learners or physically challenged, how will the online education and virtual reality take care of them?
Some new. Yes, sir. Was
Hello.
just
So do you
one
want me
second.
to sure, okay.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
So can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I just asked one question that one of the attendees asked how virtual classroom
Yes.
can substitute classroom teaching because there would be a lack of social bond between the teacher and the student. So how eye to eye you can make it more professional? And I think you have already answered in the PPT, but still just you can give any additional views on this.
See, we have discussed in a detail how synchronous learning and asynchronous learning can improve the student connect. Because see, the physical teaching, there is always a bond between the student and the faculty. So we have to make a use of this technology. So we can improve they are into same page. That is called a synchronous fundamental. So we
Okay.
have to use so many, just now we have discussed, there are so many technology aids we have to take to connect with the student to improve the barriers what we are having in online lectures and in a classroom lectures.
Okay.
Geeta
Sir,
ma'am?
shall I repeat the question? Many people have asked question about the weak students, the slow learners, physically challenged students. How is this online mode of education and virtual reality going to help them? Am I audible? Is my question heard?
I think I
Yes,
got some
yes.
disturbance here.
Okay.
Yeah, one second. Let me.
I think Mahalakshmi, you go ahead with question answers because I don't think am I audible?
Yeah, you're
Yeah, ma'am,
audible,
you're
but I getting
audible.
some disturbance of.
Okay, can you repeat the question, ma'am?
Yeah, I said the slow learners, physically challenged students, how will they fit in the scheme of things with respect to online education, virtual learning? So that is a question asked by many participants in various forms.
So that is what a solution I provided, because just online lectures is not going to solve the problem. So the professor has to adopt to the new technology. So how he can connect with the student. For example, just before I said, he has to identify which are the big students, which are the average students, and which are the quiet students. And he has to create the group of that particular student, so that he can address that same topic in a different example. In uh, There is an opportunity for the student also, without any fear, he can ask the question in a discussion forum. So he has to arrange the different time slot for the different student. So he can understand what is the level of the question. Based on that, he can see uh, uh, what methodology is to change. So, because virtual education, this barrier will always be remain. That is why I suggested he has to be app for technologies, so he can connect better with the student, and continuously has to take the feedback on their learning. So the various
Okay,
he has to use, as I said, he has to use
okay.
the chat group. He has to
Hmm.
do the video conferencing, audio
So
conferencing.
basically,
Yeah,
teacher has to be technologically sound so that he can
yeah.
help
So
all kinds of students, is
yeah,
what you mean. Okay,
techno.
our next question is about practicals. Some people
Yeah.
have asked how you'll take care of practicals, and I think, sir, in your last part of presentation, you've shown virtual labs. So I think that question is taken care of. You can have virtual labs through which practicals can be taken care of. Now, one
Yeah.
more question which I can see here is about generally teaching. Can the teachers be replaced by virtual classrooms? And will this affect employment of teachers? Now, this is a question very close to the heart of teachers. Will the teachers be out of picture with online and virtual classrooms?
No, I couldn't get the question rightly.
The question is with online, there is disturbance. Somebody's mic is on and it is, yes, I think that's okay. That's better. So the question is, with online education and virtual classrooms, will the teachers be out of job?
No, that is what I stress. No, in all the complete, uh, uh, all the synchronous learning or asynchronous learning or learning management system, I clearly stress that without faculty, there cannot be education. If, education, all this technology is just a helping hand. You cannot replace the teacher, because teacher has to create the content, and the teacher has to get adopted to new technology to better way to connect with student. So faculty cannot be out of job, because faculty will be in more demand, because he is
Right. You will
reaching
need
the larger
faculty
section of
to,
the country.
yes, even development of e-content, faculty will be required in it because
Yeah.
faculty would know what kind of content is to be developed.
Yeah, because
Right.
content cannot be created by the technology. The faculty has to
Technologies.
create the content, and
Faculty
he has
has
to
to be
deliver.
involved.
Yeah, he
Right.
has to deliver in with the help of new technologies.
Then there is repeatedly one question being asked that internet connection is poor in rural areas and in many areas. So how do we solve? I think for this, time is the only solution. When you need something, the solution comes out. That is our experience so far. Don't you think so, sir? That we will get better internet and better solutions in the near future because it's very badly required now.
No, as per my information, almost yeah, almost 80% India, the fiber optic cable has been laid. So internet connection will not be a problem, because our India's infrastructure is going with is especially on an internet connection and fiber optic. It's a fantastic connection in all the villages. It's not dependent on a mobile connection, mobile signal, because it is running on a fiber optic. So internet
Yeah,
speed,
the
what we are getting is,
affordability could be a question, whether everybody will be able to afford it.
I think now even in a city also is quite affordable with the Geo and all this competition. I don't think so. It's too expensive. Within just 300 rupees or 400 rupees per month, you are getting unlimited data.
Right. Well, we'll take one last
Uh,
question. This is from the humanities teacher. Whether online and virtual education can be used in humanities and for vernacular students. We'll take this quick question and we will stop the QA session.
Yeah, basically, as I clearly discussed, it's not depend on technologies. Basically, is the faculty who has to derive the syllabus. Yeah, so technology with any other languages, it's not only in English. Any languages you can convert this uses of technology in any languages. So there is no language barrier for the technologies. You can produce this software in Hindi, Tamil, Gujarati, or any languages. So there is no technology.
Hello. I think I've lost connection.
yeah, thank
Hello.
you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Geeta ma'am.
So,
Uh,
yeah, thank you, sir.
yes,
Thank
yes,
you for
yes.
answering all the questions so
So once
patiently.
again, I thank our speaker for giving a brief knowledge on virtual reality. So really, we need to have a life experience by augmenting reality in education and training. So my special thanks to Mr. Vishal Gada and Financial Planning Academy team. Uh, Thanks to our principal, Dr. Uma Shankar, who stayed over the session, and thanks to our management for
My
supporting
pleasure.
us in this national webinar. And I thank my colleagues, Dr. Kamla Srinivas ma'am, Mrs. Geeta Paluskar ma'am, my technical team of students, Swarna, Karishma, Florina, Rishi, Akib, Benson, and all other those who had helped us online and offline. Finally, I would like to just thank the participants who had participated all over India from Latur, Ahmedabad, Nagarkoil, Satara, Osmanabad, New Delhi, Uttarakhand, Shivagangai, many places. The all participants had been patiently hearing. All your question answers, we'll try to answer it in the group for some time. We'll keep it open. Just sharing the feedback link now. Please fill it within 15 minutes. Then we may see the attendance and see if you can give it access to others. And regarding the upcoming events, shortly we'll be having an event related to FDP only. We are going to have a faculty development program ahead of this virtual reality where participants can work on e-content development. We are having video editing, animations. All these sessions are coming forward. So I'm just sharing the link. You can ask those who are interested can express your needs to join our other sessions. We'll share it with you on email also our upcoming sessions. So just posting the feedback link, please fill it in another 15 minutes. Okay. Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Mr.
everyone.
Jani. It
Thank you
was
so much,
wonderful
sir.
listening to you.
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Yes, I'm just posting the feedback link. Please fill it.